the mom of a child with unique abilities, special needs, disabilities, there's some things that we go through that other moms can't seem to really understand, and it's very difficult at times. And so this last week, I had like this moment of, what? Oh, that's what they've been talking about. So, to be honest, the type of personality that I am that mom that is not afraid to go out in public with Naomi. Despite her disability, despite her acting out. I mean, I'm very conscious of when she feels bad, when she's tired, when she's worn out. However, I will admit sometimes that I will use her fatigue as an excuse to go home when I am actually the one that's absolutely fatigued. I think we've all done that. I'm not afraid to go out in public, is what I'm pretty much saying. I will say one of the nice things about having a child with Down syndrome when I go out in public and she throws a temper tantrum and throws herself on the floor and refuses to do things, because that happens. And the one nice thing with Down syndrome is that she looks like she has a disability. When I know there are a lot of parents out there who have children with autism or ADHD, or maybe they just don't even know what's going on, and their child blows in temper tantrum, the people around just judge. And you know what? I'll be honest, even with a child with Down syndrome, people just judge. There is this idea, I think, in people's mind that children with Down syndrome or people with Down syndrome are angels and they're so sweet and innocent, and and I get that. I get where they get that from. I'm going to speak for my daughter. I do know that not every child with Down syndrome is exactly the same, but speaking for my child, when she has emotions, she has emotions to their fullest extent. So when she's happy, she's like really happy. When she's sad, she's like really, really sad. And I'm experiencing this now with a 6-year-old. I couldn't even imagine what it's like when you have a teenager, when they're feeling depressed. That I have heard depression with Down syndrome is a real thing. And I know there is similarities between autism as well and ADHD, just this, you feel the emotions. And when people see my daughter acting out, they start to judge me and my parenting skills, or at least feeling like others are judging you, because that's a real thing too. People may not be judging you, but in your head, you think that they're judging you because in reality, you're judging yourself as a parent. So that's one thing that definitely happens. Over the last couple of weeks and just months in general, I have really been pushing for Naomi to be in a social kind of environment. We don't go to public school. We do homeschool. And so I don't want to just sit at home with Naomi all day long. I don't. So we try to get involved with different things, whether it's VBS, whether it's a Bible study or Sunday school or Saturday school, or whether it's a homeschool co-op, for example. I want her to get involved with those things. I want her to know how to respond to other people. And the YMCA, that's another one. Going to the YMCA and having her stay with other kids in a different controlled environment. So what I've been finding a lot lately, so she's at this age where she wants her independence. It's a beautiful thing. She wants to be independent. She's recognizing, so her social skills are way above her physical skills. And this is the situation that I'm personally, and I know everybody's is different, but her social skills, like, she sees that she's socially right on par, pretty much is the best way I can put it. But physically, she is incapable of doing certain things without help. I mean, that is just a reality of things. Or if it's not just that she's incapable, she will be capable one day, definitely. She can't write now. Like, she can't read. Other 6-year-olds, some of them can read. She needs help in the bathroom, going to the bathroom, or she'll get distracted and she gets curious and makes a mess, and that's pretty common. She is potty trained, but it's still, she makes a mess because lots of reasons. And different things like that. Or this is one of her things that is pretty common, is that she's in an environment, a controlled environment, and she has to stay put. Well, she's like, well, this is not interesting right now, so I'm just leaving. And she's been known to walk out the door and to another location. She has scared a few people. And so I've gotten into the habit of having to kind of, get her into the room wherever she's staying and just kind of like hang out a little bit outside the room and wait till she's acclimated. Usually I try to stay in the room until she's acclimated, but then I go outside. There's lots of different things. I kind of have to feel her out a little bit. And all the while, I know people are watching me. And I feel those eyes. Like, you literally feel those eyes. And some are judging you, and some are trying to learn. But you can't really decipher all the time which is happening. But you also got a lot of, like, drop jaws and mouth wide open and deer in a headlight looks from a lot of people, too. Because sometimes people just don't know how to respond. I know there's been situations where Naomi refuses to do things, or she does things that are a little out of order, or things like that's not what a typical child would do. And instead of reacting in common sense, people have deer in headlights and ran to go get me. A simple situation is my daughter is thirsty. She goes to the water fountain and tries to drink from the water fountain. Physically, she's not very good at doing that, first of all. Like, it's mouth control, like a lot of different factors involved. I mean, one solution to that problem is I will now bring a water bottle with her to that location so she can drink from a water bottle instead of feeling like she has to go to the water fountain. However, the water fountain's pretty fun. Yeah, especially for a 6-year-old. Anyway, go to the water fountain, get a drink of water. Of course, she covers her complete shirt, soaked. There's a couple things you can do there, if you're not the parent. You can, one, say, you know what, hey, let's go play something else. Or you could notice that happening, grab a paper towel, and have her hold the paper towel right here so she doesn't make a mess. Maybe even, like, pick her up and help her. I know there's, like, rules with touching that people can't do. But there's different things that they can try. Unfortunately, a lot of people see something that's out of the norm and they just freeze and they freak out because they don't know what to do. They weren't trained. People are trained to recognize certain characteristics in people and expect that to happen. But then when somebody else does something that's out of the norm, it throws them off. They're not trained to work with people and children that don't necessarily do things that typical children do, and they just freeze. Sometimes that turns into hate. Sometimes that turns into prejudice. It could be taken very negatively. It could be judgy. They could judge you as a parent, and that does happen a lot. It can also be turned into positive, where that person looks towards you and tries to learn from you. So I experienced something in the last, I'm not going to be specific because I don't want to call anybody out, but I'll say this. In the last 6 months, I have been in an environment with my other kids. It's easy. I drop them off and leave. That's it. If I want her to be a part of this, I need to be with her at all times. But not only that, I need to help the people who are working with her in that environment learn how to work with her. This is where I'm going to talk a little bit about public school versus homeschool. So I used to be a public school teacher, and I worked a lot with children that had disabilities and special needs, and we had these things called IEPs. Now, the purpose of an IEP is to inform the classroom teacher of the accommodations that need to be done for that child specifically. And IEP meetings happen quite frequently among all the teachers and the student and the family and any specialist involved. And it's written out on a piece of paper and given to the teachers, and the teachers are expected to read it and implement it. Now, the problem is that the majority of the teachers in the public school system, they were never trained to actually take part in a child's life to make those accommodations. They've only seen these things written out on paper and in videos. They're shown videos. They've never actually experienced this and learned how to work with kids that have unique abilities. And it becomes a problem because they're expected to immediately take hold of this right away. And not to mention that nowadays in our classrooms that are completely overcrowded, and the fact that there are so many diagnoses and accommodations for pretty much almost, it seems like everyone, they're expected to keep track of all of this. If you don't know the kid and grow up with the kid and have a relationship with the kid, it's going to be really, really hard. And of course, the parents are at home expecting that the teacher who is quote unquote trained is doing their job and doing everything they can to help the kids. Well, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. Even if they're in a special education classroom with an aide that is used to doing things like this, there's still, it's a modified smaller classroom, but there's still like 8 to 10 kids in there. And the aide is not necessarily trained. It's the special ed teacher that knows all the things supposedly, but they're the ones that are out doing IEP meetings and writing up paperwork and doing more trainings because, the public school system likes to train them. And it's a big difference than homeschool. My thought is this. Okay, I'm gonna grab this all in and reel it in. It was a realization for me when I was in this situation and thinking about a lot of stuff and experiencing the people with the headlights, deer cotton headlights look and not knowing what to do. And even if I had to go to the bathroom, it was like they froze. They were so reliant upon me. I could make some choices here. I could be angry at them, or I could be that advocate for my daughter. Because when you're a parent, it's like you have to be an advocate. It's gotten to the point where I walk into a room and I'm like, have you met Naomi yet? Well, let me just tell you a little bit about her. And I just talk. And I share. And then I model. And I hope that people are humble and they watch, learn, and listen. Sometimes the worst, though, I will say this, are the other kids in the classroom. Because kids at age 6, they like to say it how it is. And you, the parent, are standing right, if you're in the room observing this, you hear those words like, your child's weird, what's wrong with them? Or that look on their face like, she's not listening. Nanny, boo, boo. Mm-hmm. She'll do that, okay? She does that. And then she'll go like that, like just silliness. And she's having fun and she thinks it's a game. Well, maybe there's not a game being played and she's not recognizing that there's not a game being played. And so she does that. And so a kid will be like, she spit on me. And then she tells the teacher, and the teacher, who doesn't know Naomi very well or her mannerisms, automatically assumes that Naomi spit on her, and now Naomi's in trouble. And now there's discrimination because Naomi can't speak for herself. She can't say, oh, I thought that was a game that we were playing, or something along those lines. There is an unawareness of the reality of the situation. It's accidental discrimination. It's not on purpose, but it hurts still. And you, the parent, have to walk in and you have to, in the kindest way possible, explain what's going on and hope that they will listen. A lot of parents, though, will come in there storming and stomping and screaming and, being a full-blown Karen. That doesn't necessarily work. That just pushes people away. It's just such a hard balance to play. And finding out how to do that as a mom, it's really, really hard. So why do I say all of this? Because I think you guys would relate. I think a lot of you guys would relate. I don't think anybody realizes how hard all of this is for somebody who's trying to advocate for their child. And we have choices to make. Are we going to act on anger, or are we going to be courteous and be an advocate and teach with kindness, understanding that not everybody knows everything. Not everybody's God, and we've got to pray for each other and stand strong with each other. And so, I thought I'd just come on here and share those things. I guess what I'm hoping comes out of all of this is, I'm trying to see why I just did all this. Probably just to get it off my chest. No, but I wanted to encourage you, honestly, because I know that I'm not the only one out there that's feeling this pressure and seeing these things. Just leave me a comment. This is when you need to comment, because I'm done doing the video and I need y'all to comment and I need y'all to tell me your stories, because it's just encouraging. That's all. And it's encouraging for others to come here and see those comments in the comment box. So you go ahead and comment, and you that are watching, you can go read comments. So thank you. Let me know if you enjoyed this and your thoughts. It's your turn. It's your turn to talk. So thank you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.